Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Books and Bytes. Today, we're diving deep into the Ramayana. It's this ancient Indian epic poem attributed to the sage Valmiki. And
It's fantastic.
it really is. It's
Mhm.
packed with adventure and romance and philosophical depth. And
It's a story that's been told and retold for centuries. And I think
yes,
what's really amazing is that each generation finds something new in it. It weaves together these personal journeys with grand cosmic themes.
yeah, absolutely. So for anyone who's maybe not familiar with the story, let's do a quick flyover. We've got Prince Rama. He's the rightful heir to the throne of Ayodhya. And he gets unjustly exiled because of his stepmother's scheming. He's accompanied by his devoted wife Sita and his loyal brother Lakshmana. And their journey through the wilderness is
It was
just,
a huge test of character,
it is.
filled with encounters with wise sages and menacing demons.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then things take a real turn when Sita's abducted by the demon king Ravana.
Yeah.
This sets off a chain reaction. That leads to this epic battle, with Rama ultimately vanquishing Ravana and rescuing Sita. But the story doesn't end there. There are trials and tests of faith, and ultimately a poignant exploration of lost forgiveness and the true meaning of kingship.
I think the later parts of the epic really dig into these complexities. It's not a simple good versus evil story at all. It forces us to confront questions about justice and social norms, and the choices we make when duty clashes with our own personal desires.
Exactly. So let's start at the beginning. The opening verses of the Ramayana are an invocation praising Valmiki himself. It's almost like he's setting the stage,
Yeah.
for this grand epic tale that he's about to tell.
Yeah, and it's more than just setting the stage. That invocation actually highlights this key idea, that stories have the power to transmit wisdom and guide us toward righteous living. Valmiki doesn't just recount the events, he really frames them as a way to learn about dharma.
Right, and then we're plunged into this world of Ayodhya, this incredibly prosperous kingdom. We're ruled by King Dasaratha. We learn about Rama's lineage, his divine connection as an incarnation of Vishnu,
Right.
which immediately elevates his status. It's clear he's no ordinary prince.
That lineage is so crucial because it ties Rama to this ancient line of righteous kings. It reinforces this idea that leadership is about upholding a moral order. He's not just inheriting a throne, he's inheriting a responsibility.
Yeah, for sure. King Dasaratha, though, he's getting on in years, and he yearns for an heir. This leads him to perform a grand sacrifice, which in a way sets the stage for the central conflict of the whole epic.
Yeah, and the sacrifice itself is so telling about the values of the time. It shows the importance of lineage, the continuation of a dynasty, the belief in divine intervention in earthly affairs. It's a reminder that even the most righteous actions can have unintended consequences.
Right, because
Yeah.
from this sacrifice, not only is Rama born, but so are his brothers. And this brings us to one of the most intriguing characters in the epic, Kaikeyi, one of Dasaratha's wives. Her ambition and this fierce love for her own son Harat lead her to make a very fateful decision.
I think Kaikeyi is often portrayed as the villain of the story, but she's much more complex than that. Her actions are driven by a mother's desire to secure her son's future, even if it means resorting to manipulation and treachery. It forces us to ask, how far would we go to protect those we love? What compromises are we willing to make in the pursuit of power?
That's such a good point. She calls in a favor from King Dasaratha, forcing him to exile Rama and make Bharat the heir. And this just sets the wheels in motion for the entire epic. It's a really powerful scene, filled with betrayal and anguish, and Rama's incredible acceptance of his fate.
Rama's response in that moment is so crucial to understanding his character. He could have rebelled, asserted his own claim, but his commitment to dharma, to honoring his father's word, even when it's unjust, it really defines her. It speaks to the power of self-sacrifice and this idea that true strength lies in upholding one's principles.
But his brother Lakshmana, he's not having any of it. He's ready to fight back, questioning Rama's passive acceptance of this injustice. He represents that fiery, impulsive side, a contrast to Rama's unwavering commitment to duty.
Lakshmana's reaction is completely human. He embodies that loyalty and protectiveness that we feel towards our loved ones. It also highlights the tension between action and restraint, which is a recurring theme throughout the epic.
And then there's Sita, Rama's wife, who chooses to follow him into exile, leaving behind all the comforts of the palace to share his hardship.
It's a huge testament to her love and devotion.
It is.
Sita's decision is really powerful. It's a statement about the nature of true love. It's not just romantic passion, but about shared sacrifice and unwavering support, a willingness to face any challenge together.
So they embark on this journey into the wilderness. And it's a far cry from the gilded cages of Ayodhya. They encounter sages and hermits, these wise figures who offer them guidance and shelter, emphasizing the importance of spiritual growth even amidst adversity.
I love those encounters with the sages because they're like these little pit stops along their journey of self-discovery. They represent the importance of seeking wisdom. From those who have dedicated their lives to contemplation and spiritual practice, they offer Rama not just practical advice, but also insights into the deeper meaning of Dharma.
Right, but it's not all peaceful reflection. They face terrifying demons, engaging in these battles, that really test their strength and courage. It's this constant reminder that the path of Dharma is not without its challenges.
And those battles are symbolic of the internal struggles that we all face. The demons represent the forces of negativity and temptation, and those aspects of ourselves that we have to overcome to stay true to our principles.
Yeah, and one encounter that stands out is Sita's meeting with the sage Anasuya. She receives blessings and gifts, including this divine balm that preserves her beauty. It's a seemingly small detail, but it foreshadows the importance of appearances and perceptions later in the story.
Anasuya is such a fascinating character. She embodies feminine wisdom and spiritual authority, offering Sita guidance on the qualities of a virtuous wife. It's a reminder that strength and influence can take many forms, and that women hold a significant place within the spiritual landscape of the epic.
And then, there's this beautifully descriptive passage in Book 1, where Valmiki captures the harshness of winter. It's more than just scenery, though. It mirrors the emotional state of the characters as they face hardship and uncertainty.
That's the power of Valmiki's poetry. He doesn't just tell us what's happening, he immerses us in the experience. He uses nature to reflect the inner turmoil of the characters, creating this poignant connection between the external world and the emotional landscape.
Yeah. The journey through the wilderness is a transformative one. For Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana, it strips away their royal comforts, forces them to confront their fears, and ultimately strengthens their bond.
That's like a crucible that tests their commitment to Dharma and to each other. And it's through these trials that they emerge more resilient, more compassionate, and more spiritually attuned.
But just as they're adapting to this new life, disaster strikes. Sita is abducted by Ravana, the 10-headed demon king of Lanka,
Oh, man.
and this single act sets the stage for the epic battle that will define Rama's destiny.
Sita's abduction is a real turning point in the story. It throws the whole world into chaos, disrupting the balance of good and evil, and it sets Rama on this path of vengeance and righteous fury.
Yeah.
That will test him in ways he could never have imagined.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's intense.
Yeah. Sita's abduction, it's not just a personal tragedy for Rama. It's like this violation of cosmic order, a challenge to his dharma as protector and king.
And it's interesting how Rama responds. I mean, he is grief-stricken, obviously. But he doesn't just like lash out in rage. He really methodically sets about forming alliances, gathering the resources he needs to confront Ravana.
Yeah, it shows his character, that balance between emotion and action. He's a warrior, but he's also strategic. He knows to defeat someone like Ravana, he needs more than just strength. He needs a plan.
Right. And this is where we meet some of the most iconic characters in the epic. Sugriva, the exiled monkey king, and Hanuman, the valiant monkey warrior. They become Rama's allies.
And their inclusion introduces a fascinating element to the story. Because monkeys and bears in Hindu mythology, they often represent these untamed forces of nature. And so their alliance with Rama symbolizes this idea that even these wild aspects of creation can be harnessed for good, for upholding Dharma.
It's interesting, though,
Yeah.
because even here, the epic doesn't shy away from moral ambiguity. Rama helps Sugriva reclaim his kingdom by killing his brother Bali. But he does it from a hidden position.
Right.
It raises questions about the means justifying the ends. Even in righteous cause.
Definitely. It makes us grapple with the complexities of war and leadership. Can you remain pure, truly adherent to Dharma, when you're faced with such difficult choices? The Ramayana doesn't give us easy answers, and I think that's part of why it's so powerful.
Yeah, for sure. And then, of course, there's Hanuman. I mean, his leap across the ocean to Lanka is one of the most famous scenes. It's this incredible feat of strength and devotion, a testament to his unwavering faith in Rama.
It really embodies bhakti, that intense devotion and love for the divine. He's not just a warrior. He's a symbol of faith in action. His leap isn't just physical, it's a leap of faith, a commitment to serving Rama no matter what.
And he finds Sita imprisoned in Ravana's palace garden. And despite Ravana trying to win her over, she stays completely loyal to Rama.
It's a powerful testament to her strength.
Yeah.
And the power of love to endure even in the darkest of times.
And Hanuman doesn't just find Sita, he sows chaos in Lanka, setting fire to the city with his tail. It's the scene that blends humor and spectacle. and a touch of divine retribution.
It's such a great example of how the Ramayana balances these grand themes. With moments of levity and action,
Right.
Hanuman, even though he's so devoted, he's also got this playful, mischievous side. It makes him a more relatable character.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with Hanuman's return, the stage is set for this epic battle between Rama's forces and Ravana's demonic army. And the Ramayana does not hold back in describing the spectacle of this war, the clash of divine weapons, and these incredible feats of valor on both sides.
It's not just physical combat, though. These battle scenes represent this cosmic struggle between good and evil dharma and adharma. Every arrow, every sword stroke, it all has this symbolic weight.
And Ravana is no pushover. He's powerful. He's intelligent. The battle rages for days,
Right.
with losses on both sides.
It highlights the cost of victory. Even in a righteous war, when you're fighting for dharma, there's still suffering and loss. It reminds us that the path to righteousness is rarely easy.
Yeah. One of the most interesting characters on Ravana's side is his son Indrajit. He's a master of illusion and magic. He can create illusions and even appear invisible.
He represents a very specific kind of threat, the danger of deception, the allure of false appearances. He's a reminder that evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it wears a mask of beauty, of promises of power, and that can be even more dangerous.
So finally, after this long, arduous battle, Rama confronts Ravana in a one-on-one duel.
Wow.
It's a clash of titans. This battle that will determine the fate of Lanka and the cosmic balance itself.
That duel is described in such incredible detail. Each blow is so symbolic. It's a fight for more than just dominance. It's for the soul of the world. And when Rama finally kills Ravana, it's this moment of pure triumph, a restoration of dharma.
But even in victory, there's this sadness. Vibhishana, Ravana's brother, who sided with Rama, he mourns his brother's death.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even the most wicked people can inspire loyalty and love, and that even victory, there can be loss.
It adds complexity to the story. Vibhishana chose to follow dharma, even though it meant betraying his brother. It makes us think about loyalty and family, and the choices we make when they clash with our moral compass.
So Ravana's defeated, Sita's rescued. You'd think that's the end, a happy ending, right? But the Ramayana isn't done with us yet.
There's a saying, the journey is the destination. And in the Ramayana, that's really true. The defeat of Ravana is a huge turning point. But it's not the end of Rama's journey. There are still trials to come, tests of faith and leadership that reveal even deeper layers of meaning.
So we left off with Rama, victorious, but facing a whole new set of challenges.
Yeah, the war is won, but now the real tests begin for Rama.
Right, because instead of this joyful reunion with Sita, there's this undercurrent of doubt about her purity after being held captive by Ravana.
It's a reflection of those societal norms back then. Where a woman's virtue was tied to her physical purity. The fact that Sita was held captive, even if nothing happened, it casts this shadow over her.
Yeah, so even though Rama loves her and believes her, he feels obligated to prove her innocence to his people.
He's totally torn between his personal feelings and his duty as a king. To uphold his kingdom's honor, it's a huge moral dilemma for him.
Yeah. And so he asks Sita to undergo a trial by fire to prove her purity.
That trial is such a symbolic moment. It represents the impossible situation for so many women, having to prove their innocence. Despite having no control over the circumstances, it speaks to these patriarchal structures that put the burden of proof on women.
And Sita, heartbroken and angered by this, she willingly walks into the fire. And of course, the gods intervene. They prove her innocence. But even after this, some doubt lingers, and it eventually leads to Sita's banishment from Ayodhya.
It's so tragic. She proves her purity, but she's still ostracized. It highlights the complexities of those societal expectations and how even the most virtuous people can become victims.
And Rama's decision, even though it's intended to uphold his duty as king, it leads to so much suffering for both of them.
It makes you wonder if following those rigid societal norms, even with good intentions, can sometimes do more harm than good.
Right. The Ramayana leaves us thinking about that balance between personal feelings and societal expectations. Years pass, and Rama rules Ayodhya with justice and wisdom. But the memory of Sita and the pain of their separation, it haunts him. He's portrayed as a ruler burdened by his decisions.
It makes him a much more complex and realistic character. It reminds us that even the most righteous people make mistakes, and that leadership is full of tough choices and unintended consequences.
But through it all, Hanuman remains his companion and advisor.
Hanuman's devotion to Rama never wavers. He's a constant source of strength and support. His loyalty goes beyond any doubt or setback. It's like the purest form of friendship.
And then there's the story of Lava and Kusha, Rama and Sita's sons. They're born in the forest and raised without knowing who their parents are.
It adds another layer to the epic, exploring themes of identity and destiny and the power of reconciliation. They grow up away from the court, so they develop this pure sense of righteousness.
And they end up meeting Rama during this horse sacrifice he's performing. And without knowing who he is, they challenge him by reciting the epic poem of their father's life.
Oh, wow.
I know, it's amazing.
It's such a poignant scene. It shows the power of stories to connect generations and transmit culture. Without realizing it, they're revealing their lineage and setting up this reunion.
Right. And the story comes full circle. Rama recognizes his sons and is reunited with Sita. But it's bittersweet. There's all this pain from the past.
Yeah, and Sita, feeling betrayed by the kingdom, she chooses to return to the earth, leaving Rama and their sons behind. It's such a powerful ending. It speaks to love and loss and the complexity of relationships.
Ramayana doesn't give us easy answers. It leaves us with this feeling of both fulfillment and longing.
Yeah.
This reminder that even with triumph, life is full of both joy and sorrow.
It challenges us to confront our own moral dilemmas, to really think about societal expectations, and find meaning in the face of triumph and tragedy. It's a timeless masterpiece that speaks to everyone because it reflects these universal truths about being human.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the Ramayana with you. It's a story that stays with you, the characters become like companions, and the lessons become guideposts. And that message of hope and resilience is so inspiring.
I agree. And as we wrap up our deep dive, I encourage everyone to keep exploring the Ramayana. There's so much to uncover, and each reading offers something new. Let its wisdom guide you and inspire you to live a life full of purpose.